Hello. So today's topic, we are going to be finishing up our unit on weight management. So I'm going to get my screen pulled up here and we'll get started. So again, we ended in the last section of this, kind of talking about, some tips associated with reducing that calorie intake, including, some tips to make healthy decisions when we are eating out at a restaurant. Methods of eating. Again, what are some tips for kind of minimizing excessive calorie intake? We should eat slowly, make sure you're chewing your food thoroughly, drink water between some bites, eat with someone. So again, trying to eat slow so that you can have a conversation with that person. That'll help you to kind of slow things down. Cut your food into small pieces. Don't do anything else while you're eating, so it's easy to be distracted by the TV or being on your phone, on social media, those types of things. So try to avoid those situations. Try to just focus on eating during that particular time. Relax and enjoy the meal. So again, kind of focus on that as your main activity at that time and kind of focus your energy on what you're eating. Only eat at specified times. So again, creating routine is good. We want to establish a routine. Eat only until pleasantly satisfied, not stuffed. That's hard when it's really good, right? So that can be really difficult for us to do. And it's even more difficult when we eat quickly. So those are some other tips for you. Spread your total calories throughout the day. Snack often. I'm not a huge snacker. I prefer 3 kind of solid meals. I don't really like to snack a whole lot. I feel like I eat more in that case. But for a lot of people, that is a better method because then you're never really like starving for food. So those are a couple of different methods for you there. As it relates to activity, again, and we're thinking about, calorie expenditure in comparison to the amount of calories that we're consuming. What can we do to burn more calories, right? So we want to decrease the amount of time that we spend sitting down or being sedentary. We want to increase the amount of daily non-activity thermogenesis. So again, just doing, little things, just walking more, using the stairs, um, a brisk 10-minute walk. So again, this is something now that we've been on quarantine, this is something that I like to do a lot, especially when it's nice out. I'll finish up this unit and I'll quick go outside and take a loop around. We have a pretty big, we have like a 2-acre lot. So I'll take 2 loops around our property or whatever, or I'll walk across the street and do, a couple minutes out and a couple minutes back. So a nice 10-minute walk or something like that. Or maybe if it's not nice out, then I'll get on the elliptical for 5 minutes, just to something to get you going so that you're not just sitting all day. So that's another idea. So again, just little tiny things. Again, I'm not trying to improve my fitness by any means with a 10-minute walk, but I just want to get up and get active. It helps me to feel better. Get involved in physical activity with others. Again, that might be really difficult at this point in time in our lives, but that would be something in the future that we could do. Again, having a workout buddy or having, the social piece associated with exercise will help to keep us accountable. Avoid sedentary night routines. So again, are you laying on the couch? Are you watching Netflix before you go to bed? Or what's going on? What's your normal thing that you would do at night? Start a regular exercise program that includes both aerobic and resistance training, and then schedule exercise as an appointment in your daily planner. That's something that I also do. Each morning or the night before, I kind of figure out, okay, well, when is that block? When am I going to be able to get, my workout in? Or, I sit down and map it out for the week. Okay, Tuesday and Thursday, I'm going to go swim. On Saturday, I'm going to ride my bike, and on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm going to run or whatever. And here's the times that I'm going to do those things. So again, if I write it down in my calendar, then it's already scheduled in and I don't overschedule myself with other things or other meetings or anything else like that. So it's already set in stone. So that certainly helps me to stay consistent as well. What about your attitude, right? What's our mental attitude looking like? So recognize that you're not perfect and that every day doesn't have to be perfect. Again, my husband has this kind of attitude like, well, shit, you made brownies, so I had one, I might as well eat the whole pan, right? He kind of has this all or nothing attitude. But again, that's probably not the appropriate attitude if we're interested in weight loss. Recognize that you're not perfect. It's okay to have a brownie. It's okay to have maybe two. Probably don't try to eat the whole pan. It's not just like you win a day or you lose a day, right? So again, thinking about those factors. Deal positively with your lapse. So put it behind you and get back into your program. So again, don't dwell on your, failure or your, um, you know, if you get off track, just try your best to get back on track the next day and kind of be positive about that and understand that that's okay. This is all a process. Nobody's perfect when it comes to, the nutrition or exercise habits. Put reminders on the refrigerator door at home or on your phone, right? So again, I have a friend that just has this little sticky note on his fridge door that says, make sure Jared eats healthy today. So again, it's just a simple reminder like, oh, this is something that should be important. And then reward yourself for sticking to your plans. Again, your rewards shouldn't be counterproductive. So you shouldn't have a reward of, oh, now I get ice cream because I ate healthy for a week, right? So maybe something a little more productive than that associated with your goal. So I ate well 10 days in a row, so now I'm gonna I don't know, buy something. Maybe you like shopping, so you're gonna do that, or you're gonna reward yourself by getting a massage or something like that. So think about productive rewards based on what your goals are. So again, let's think about the role of exercise as it relates to weight control and weight management. So that, again, that's kind of our last unit associated with, or our last section associated with this unit on weight management. So again, when we think about a exercise program that's appropriate for someone who's interested in weight loss, this program should include both resistance exercise and aerobic exercise. Okay. So again, when we think about the benefits of each of these, aerobic exercise is going to burn a lot of calories, so that's good. Resistance exercise is going to help us to maintain or increase our muscle mass or the quality of tissue that we have. So this can increase our resting metabolism in the long run. And like I said, it can also help us to minimize the amount of muscle mass that we're going to lose if we are losing weight. So again, what are some of the benefits associated with resistance training? Certainly preserving that lean body mass. So again, preserving the muscle mass that we have can also increase our resting metabolism, even though we've got this decrease in resting metabolism associated with dieting. So again, we said that, with calorie restriction, we can reduce our resting metabolism by 10 to 15%. So, by doing resistance exercise, that can kind of help to eliminate that kind of negative side effect. It can also help to motivate people to be more physically active. A lot of people enjoy lifting weights. So again, if that's the type of exercise that you enjoy the most, then spend some time doing it. You're not getting like a huge calorie burn out of it, but you're getting so many other benefits that are going to help in this weight loss process. Relative energy expenditure associated with resistance training, again, it's pretty low in comparison to aerobic exercise, but it could be increased if we do some sort of circuit training. A workout that I enjoy doing that kind of combines both the aerobic and resistance training pieces, and again, with doing a lot of things at home, maybe we are all limited in what we can do, but I have an elliptical and a row ergometer, so I'll do like 10 minutes on the elliptical, and then I'll do 10 minutes of strength training, and then I'll do 10 minutes on the row, and then I'll do 10 minutes of strength training. So I just kind of go back and forth between those things and do like 10-minute intervals of each. And then when I am doing the resistance training exercise, segment of that, my heart rate stays up pretty darn good. It certainly stays above 100. It's probably like 110, 120, somewhere in that range. And so by keeping my heart rate up while I'm doing that resistance exercise, it's certainly helping us to burn more calories than what you might if you were just doing the resistance training without that aerobic piece kind of blended in. Again, aerobic exercises are most effective way for us to increase energy expenditure. So we can burn a lot of calories by doing aerobic exercise. We can also increase our resting energy expenditure as well. So 60 to 70 calories per hour can be associated with an increase when we do aerobic exercise. Exercise energy expenditure could be 1,000 calories or more during sustained high intensity exercise such as walking, running, swimming, cycling. So again, thinking about those kind of repetitive movements that are activating, large muscle groups are going to burn a significant amount of calories. Certainly the higher your heart rate is, the more calories you are burning in that particular scenario. Again, what's the best of these options? Whatever you like, right? So again, if we want to establish consistency, any of these are good choices, but it's like, what do you enjoy doing? So therefore, what are you more likely to stick with? If you really don't like running, but you enjoy cycling, then do cycling, right? So yeah, you're burning a little less calories, but maybe you're going to be more consistent if you do that regularly, as opposed to, oh gosh, I don't like running, I'm going to push this workout off till tomorrow, and maybe then I push it off another day, etc. So it's easy to push things off when you don't enjoy them. So try to figure out what it is that you enjoy and then stick with those. So again, as we think about exercise and weight control, as the intensity of the exercise increases, energy expenditure also increases. We can measure that based on our heart rates. So, you think about calories per minute or calories per hour. They're going to increase linearly based on the intensity of the exercise. So caloric cost of jogging 1 mile is about, I estimate it to be about 100 calories per person. So again, if you were 150 pounds, you're burning about 100 calories per mile, okay? So again, that's actually true regardless of what intensity you run. Let's say you run a mile as fast as you possibly can, you're gonna burn 100 calories. If you walk a mile, you're gonna burn 100 calories. Now keep in mind, when you walked that mile, it maybe took you 20 minutes, whereas when you ran it as fast as you could, you were able to burn that 100 calories in 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes, right? So think about the amount of time that it took to burn those calories as opposed to the actual distance traveled. So this is an interesting concept that's really difficult for people, especially in this day and age where we want instant gratification, we want instant rewards, we want things to happen right away as soon as we put in any type of effort. But this is this long haul concept. So some people are discouraged when they learn that, well, shit, I can run a mile and I only burn 100 calories. So I have to run 35 miles in order to burn 1 pound. So that's a lot, right? That seems like a lot. That would take you significantly more than 1 week, most likely, in order to burn 1 pound off just based on running. So we need to think about this long haul concept. So the extra weight that you have, or the weight that you're trying to lose, didn't appear overnight. So therefore, it's probably not going to disappear overnight either. So if we just jog, 2 to 3 miles each day, so, 20 to 30 minutes, for a lot of us, we'll lose 2 pounds in a month, which is the long haul concept. So again, we're looking at this really gradual progression. How can I do just a little bit? Again, 20 minutes, we can all do 20 minutes. If I can do 20 minutes each day, right? Then over time, if I consistently do that, I'm going to lose a significant amount of weight. It's going to take some time, but it is certainly a strong possibility. Okay, how much do I need to exercise in order to lose weight? Well, it depends on how quickly you want to see these benefits, right? The magnitude of exercise needed for weight loss can vary um, depending on what you're already doing, what you're eating, etc. So we want everyone to do, regardless of what their goal in their life is, in order to be a healthy person, we want to do 30 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic exercise 5 days a week. That's just for health related reasons, okay? Those individuals are then burning about 200 to 300-ish calories per session. Again, 5 days per week, if we're doing that, we're burning, maybe 1,000, maybe up to 1,500 calories. So again, if I'm only doing 30 minutes of moderate intensity exercise, it'll probably take me about 3 weeks to see 1 pound weight loss. Okay. Also throw in 2 days of resistance training per week as well as part of those general health standards put out as recommendations by the ACSM. Okay. However, ACSM has also noted that more exercise is better. So if I am interested in weight loss, I can do up to 60 minutes of aerobic exercise, moderate intensity each day to kind of increase that calorie burn and increase my capacity to lose weight a little bit quicker. Now, certainly this, when coupled with a slight amount of calorie restriction, could result easily in 1 pound weight loss per week, maybe even 2 pounds of weight loss per week. Um, we only want to have them do 60 minutes of exercise once they've successfully been doing 30 minutes, and then we can gradually progress that individual up to more exercise, right? We're not just going to take some sedentary person who hasn't done anything in 20 years and be like, okay, well, I want you to run an hour every day, and then, you'll be able to lose weight. That's a great way to get them injured. It's a great way to get them intimidated. It's a great way for them to say, nah, I'm not interested in doing that, I guess. So again, we've got to think about how to progress somebody to this level, not just throw them right into it because of the risk of injury and the risk of burnout associated with doing such. Okay, so when we think about weight loss, what's going on here as it relates to weight reduction program, right? So body weight losses via dieting. So again, if I'm just restricting the amount of calories that I consume, I'll see some loss of muscle protein. I'm going to see some loss of glycogen, which we know is our storage form of carbohydrates. We'll see some water loss, and again, that's probably directly related to how much glycogen we lose, because glycogen is stored with water molecules. So, if I have glycogen loss, I'm also going to experience water loss as well. And then we'll have some fat loss as well. Okay. Again, if I am interested in weight loss, I probably am not interested in losing muscle. I would really prefer to lose fat. Okay. So, there's certain things that I can do to kind of maximize fat loss and minimize this muscle protein loss. When I lose weight via exercise, I'm losing mainly body fat, but also some muscle mass as well, right? So coupling, I call it the perfect three. So modify your diet, aerobic exercise, resistance exercise. If I do all three of those things, I will maximize the amount of fat that I'm losing and minimize the amount of muscle mass that I'm losing, because that resistance training piece is going to help us to maintain muscle while we're in a calorie deficit. What about this? What about spot reduction? Okay, so I have some flabby arms and I really want to get rid of this fat here. Can I just target this fat and get rid of that, right? So again, that's very common. That's a very common goal for a lot of people who are interested in weight loss. I really want to lose my belly fat, for example. So, looking at spot reduction, can I just do a bunch of sit-ups and will that help me to get rid of abdominal fat? Or can I just do some, tricep pushbacks, and that's going to help me to get rid of that extra fat that I maybe have in my arms or whatever? So does this work? Well, it turns out that no, it really doesn't work. So spot reduction is not effective, right? So unfortunately, you don't get to choose where you lose your fat, okay? So sit-ups will help to increase the strength of the abdominal muscles, absolutely. And resistance training will certainly help us to improve the muscle mass of the, the muscles in my upper arm. However, it's really prolonged aerobic activity that's going to help us to lose fat in the abdominal region. And it's really prolonged caloric expenditure as it's related to aerobic exercise that's going to help us to lose the fat that's located in the upper arm, etc. So spot reduction is a myth. You can't do it, right? You don't get to choose where the fat comes from. Your body will pull fat from any location that it wants. And that is super frustrating for a lot of people. They want to target one particular area, and that's not something that we can necessarily do. Certainly we can try, right? We can continue to do sit-ups and, and hope that our waist becomes, more trim or whatever. But when it comes down to it, it's doing that prolonged aerobic exercise that's really going to give us that six pack, right? We've got to get the fat out of there. It's not necessarily about the strength of those muscles. It's more about what's lying on top of those muscles, and that is subcutaneous fat, or fat underneath the skin surface. Let's see. Yep. So again, the main focus, if we're interested in this idea of spot reduction, is we've just got to increase our caloric expenditure in the first place. And then I guess just kind of say your prayers that it's going to come from the location that you want it to come from. So is it possible to lose weight, or I'm sorry, to exercise and still not lose body weight? Absolutely. So again, here's a nice image of a girl. She weighed 130 pounds. She began doing, aerobic exercise, maybe some resistance training as well. 1 month later, again, she looks much more fit, particularly, in the stomach region. However, she still weighs the same amount. Okay. So she was able to increase muscle tissue. So she increased the amount of muscle mass that she had. She was increasing the amount of blood volume that she has. So again, that's a chronic adaptation associated with regular aerobic exercise. She also increased the amount of glycogen that she had stored. So maybe she was storing more carbohydrates as she became a little bit more fit. She increased the amount of body water that she had. So again, if I increase the amount of glycogen and blood volume that I have, then I'm certainly going to need to increase the amount of fluids that I have in my body. And I decreased body fat percentage. So again, these are all positive changes. However, 4 of these things are not contributing to weight loss, and we only have 1 factor that is contributing to weight loss. So again, yes, you are healthier, absolutely, and you look more fit in this picture than you do over here, but that's super frustrating for people when we're looking at this little number down here. Things we could do to kind of eliminate this issue. Okay, I could have done circumference measurements on her. So we could have measured her hips and her waist and been able to see, hey, you lost an inch or you lost 2 inches or whatever in that amount of time. We could have also done body composition measurements. So we could have done the bioelectrical impedance or skin fold measures and been able to see, hey, your body fat percentage went down 1% or whatever. So lots of ways for us to see these improvements without necessarily seeing a change in what's going on the scale. So again, what's more effective? Would it be more effective for me to diet or exercise? So, honestly, my opinion, it really depends on the individual. Like, what is the individual willing to do, right, in order to have this weight loss occur? Is the individual interested in exercise? Maybe they're not really, but they'd be willing to give up, junk food or whatever, so they're able to reduce calorie. Sorry, I'm getting a lot of kicks in my, one of these babies is like clear up in my ribs, and she like kicks me in the ribs, and it doesn't feel that comfortable, but we're gonna get through it. So I have to kind of adjust a lot. So anyway, So again, dieting alone may be effective for losing. Now that light's right in your way here. There we go. Dieting alone may be an effective way for us to lose excessive body weight. However, you know, we've got to make sure that we're increasing protein content and know that we're also going to lose some of that muscle mass if we're just doing dieting. Exercise alone can help us to reduce body fat. However, it might take a while because we're not having a significant enough caloric restriction. Combination is certainly the most effective thing. Again, I already mentioned this three-piece puzzle. So, you know, better nutrition, aerobic exercise, resistance training. If I can do all three, that's kind of the best way for me to improve my health and also to increase the chances of improving my body weight. Okay. So again, when we think about this treatment process for somebody who is overweight or obese, we want our treatments to be long-term, right? So again, a lot of people think of this as like a means to an end. I know I've told you guys this before, but I've been personal training and coaching and things like that for, I don't know, 12 years or so. Don't do the math on how old I am then, but when I was in grad school, I was personal training a lot of clients, and I had this one client, Tashana was her name. Super like spunky little lady, and she would always joke like, as soon as I get down to 150 pounds, I'm gonna see you in the grocery store, I'm not even gonna acknowledge you. She just thought it was the most hilarious thing. Like once she reached her goal, she was never coming back to the gym, which is not the right way to think about things, right? We want to create a sustainable lifestyle for these people. We want to modify their habits so that they continue to exercise even when they do reach their goal, and they are continuing to eat healthy even when they do reach whatever that weight loss goal is. So again, when you think about what's the most important component of a healthy weight loss plan, again, I really think it's consistency. There are thousands of personal trainers that can give you good workouts and help you to burn a lot of calories, and there's 1,000 different ways we can cut calories and things like that, but it's our ability to do so consistently that makes a difference in the long run. Anybody can exercise one day, anybody can watch their calorie intake one day or 1 week or 1 month, right? That's not what's difficult. It's being able to sustain that, you know, week after week, month after month, and be able to maintain that consistency over time. That's what will result in, you know, a great amount of weight loss, but also allows that individual to continue to receive those health benefits as well. So again, when we think about control of calorie intake, again, we want to create healthy lifestyle habits. So again, this is not a means to an end. We want to establish a healthy habit for this individual. Again, 2 different options here, and we'll talk more about this when we do our fad diet unit. But, you know, is it better to do low fat or low carb diet? Both can help us lose weight, right? So again, there's multiple ways to do this and do it correctly and effectively. However, we believe that low fat with high fiber is more successful in the long run. So it's easier for us to maintain that lifestyle. It's a lot more difficult to maintain this low carb lifestyle, simply because, you know, you think about, okay, well, if my friends want to order pizza, like, what am I going to do? I'm just going to eat the cheese off the pizza, you know, or going to a restaurant becomes difficult. Family gatherings, again, what am I limited to consuming if I'm minimizing my carbohydrates, right? Whereas low fat's a little bit more manageable to be able to maintain over time. Tips for reducing calorie intake, again, we've already kind of talked about these, but reading nutrition labels, and then also, you know, using a food diary, and again, exercise as well. So I would encourage you, if you're interested in improving your health, to continue to keep a food diary, but also an exercise diary as well. So, you know, what are you consuming, and also what are you doing each day? And it's nice for you to then look at the whole week, right? Don't just look at one day and say, okay, Well, I did great. I was able to, I did the elliptical for 45 minutes and I had 2 apples or whatever. That's great, but how does that fit into your whole week, right? So again, looking for those consistent patterns over a prolonged amount of time is important. But I think that does start with reflecting on each day when you finish up. So again, I kind of keep a little journal like that, and I'll kind of look at it each night. So each night, I kind of fill in, what I consumed, what I did for exercise, and then I can kind of reflect on that and say, shoot, I didn't do as well as I wanted to today. Tomorrow I got to make sure that I have an extra banana or whatever, right? So again, thinking about those things to kind of help you stay on track is important. So thinking about thoughts and emotions. So again, research on people who have weight problems have indicated that there's a link to low self-esteem, negative emotions, and many have perfectionistic goals about what their ideal self is. Okay, so again, let me say these again. People that have weight problems indicate low self-esteem, negative emotions, and they have perfectionistic goals about what their ideal self is. So again, we want to have realistic beliefs and goals about, our health and about our body weight and body fat percentage and those types of things, just in general. But also we need to have positive self-talk and problem solving to help us support this healthy lifestyle. So again, attitude is actually really, really important when we think about the value of, being able to stick with a plan, right? You have to believe in yourself in order to achieve those particular goals. We also see a link, again, we've already talked about this, but stress and body weight. Okay, so having high stress levels makes it difficult for us to lose weight because of the hormonal interaction associated with being stressed out. That can be really difficult. So, and again, the other kind of double whammy associated with stress is a lot of us then turn to food or alcohol. And again, it's not healthy choices. It's not like, oh shit, I'm stressed out, I'm just going to go home and eat 7 apples. No, we're thinking, I'm going to go home and I'm going to eat that pan of brownies, or I'm going to order a pizza, or I'm going to go and get a margarita or whatever, right? So again, we see this link between stress level and a hormonal change associated with, you know, um, negative effects as it relates to body weight, but also, those behavioral changes as well. Our coping strategies are often based on increasing calorie intake, right? So what are some more appropriate strategies for dealing with stress in our lives, right? So think about other ways, other things that I could turn to and help me to cope, as opposed to eating that chocolate cake or having those couple margaritas or whatever it is, right? So maybe I can go on a walk. Maybe that will help me. Maybe, for me, well, my answer for everything is I would just go on a run, right? So again, can I replace those coping strategies with something a little healthier, such as running? Yoga is a great stress relief for a lot of people. Maybe it's resistance training. Maybe it's something like going on a walk or talking to a family member or a friend or a boyfriend, girlfriend, or something like that, getting their support, being able to talk things out. Maybe it's just, I need a night out with my friends and we're going to go bowling or whatever, right? So maybe it's some sort of distraction that way. Just try and make sure that it's a healthier option than just getting a bunch of margaritas or just having that pan of brownies or whatever. So again, thinking about ways to reduce our stress. Some people like meditation or going to church. So again, lots of different options, I think, for coping strategies, but we've individually got to figure out what works in order to kind of help with that issue. So again, one thing that's great and one thing that I've always very much enjoyed about personal training is when people successfully lose the weight. Okay, so if you are able to help somebody reach this goal, it's awesome to see their progression from a self-confidence standpoint and also an attitude standpoint. So again, once people start seeing those results, they start feeling more confident. They're going to improve their self-esteem as well. They might, flip from some of those unhealthy coping mechanisms to some healthier coping strategies as well. So again, when you start to feel this sense of control, like, hey, I had this goal, I did X, Y, Z, and I was able to achieve my goal, again, that reinforces to you that you can achieve many goals, right? So again, this can overlap in other areas of your life as well. So being able to achieve this goal, well, maybe I can get that promotion, or maybe I can, apply to that graduate school and get in, or, whatever it is that you're, passionate about and excited about, right? So again, the self-esteem improvement can be huge in somebody's life, not just in their health, but in all these other aspects as well, which is what's really exciting for me about the world of personal training, is being able to see somebody kind of transform from being unconfident and unsure of themselves to like gaining confidence and being able to achieve this goal, and then see that kind of transfer into other areas of their life as well. I think that's pretty cool. What about if I'm an athlete? Again, just one last kind of slide I wanted to kind of mention, because I know we have a lot of athletes in this class. So thinking about weight loss strategies for athletes, again, when we think about this, they should follow a similar plan as that for non-athletes. However, we need to be diligent and purposeful about when their weight loss program is occurring. We don't necessarily want to focus on weight loss when individuals are in their competitive season, because that will limit their energy availability and could potentially limit their success in that particular sport. Okay, so we want to weight loss. If I'm an athlete and I'm interested in weight loss, it should be done in your off season. Again, where I'm not concerned about performing at a high level. Competition season should be reserved for focusing on the task at hand and focusing on competing and performing well. Okay, so again, that's first and foremost, is when to do this. Okay, again, calorie deficit should exist. Reduce calories in, increase calorie expenditure, shoot for a small or a gradual weight loss of 1 to 2 pounds per week. Athletes should try to maintain carbohydrate and protein intake. Again, those carbohydrates are going to help them to fuel that exercise bout or their regular practices. And that protein intake is going to help them to try and maintain their muscle mass as well. So, all right. Let me hit stop share here. So that's it for our weight management unit. Again, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me, and hope you have a great day.